Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. I hope you guys have had a wonderful day. It's getting to be nightfall around here, and we are under the gun here in Oklahoma, and I know Missouri, where Howie's sister lives, and over in Arkansas, where my family lives, are all under winter storm warnings for snow and sleet and freezing rain and ice. And here we are under the gun to receive several inches of snow and sleet and even some ice, depending on where the lines fall. And so we've had to make some preparations and do some different things to make sure that we're ready for the storm, and I'm sure that some of you have too. And I thought tonight that we'd just take a little bit of time to just cover our bases and make sure that we talk a little bit about safety, a little bit about some of the things that we need to be aware of for winter storm safety. First thing I thought we would talk about is lighting. Now, nobody likes to be in the dark all the time, and so we try our best to have all of our bases covered with how to provide lighting if we should get some of the ice in snow and our power lines go down. Now, we live in a rural area. Our linemen are wonderful. They do the best job they can, but this is a significant storm, and most of Oklahoma, just about every county, is under warnings of some kind. And so Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, all of those surrounding states have similar warnings, and we know that out in the east they've had big storms in other areas, and our linemen have worked really hard, still on the job working, and so we know that, you know, it might not be an instantaneous thing. It may be something that it may be several days if the power goes out before it can be restored. So we need to think ahead about what we can do at home to make ourselves feel a little bit more comfortable if we are without power. And one of the things that helps us is having light when it starts to get dark in the evenings. So there's a variety of lights that you can have and keep on hand. We have, I'll just show you some of the things that we've got. We've got the battery-powered lanterns, and I've showed you this stuff before. It's been almost a year since we had that the big snow and ice and all the things that left Oklahoma and Texas in dire straits, and we're going to have dangerous wind chills. The meteorologists are all saying the difference in the storm that we had last year and the one that we have this year is that we're going to begin to warm up by the end of the weekend and not have as dangerous temperatures for a prolonged period of time that we did the last time. But nonetheless, if we have significant ice or snow and the power lines go down, even if it's warm outside, if you have no power, you have no lights. And so these are just creature comforts. One of them being your battery-powered lanterns, and I think this one runs on C batteries, and then your flashlights. You want to make sure that you have plenty of batteries. I try to keep these on hand. We always have a big box stashed of the different sizes of batteries that we use, and AA, AAA. Those are the most common that we have. I have some 9-volt batteries, and there's some C batteries. We also have spotlight that we can use if we need to be able to see out in the pasture if there's some kind of problems, and it's actually a rechargeable. And so, you know, if you just need to make sure if you're using batteries and using flashlights and lanterns that are battery operated, that you have plenty of batteries and that you have ways to recharge the things that are rechargeable, because that's not going to do you any good if you're not able to recharge them. Now, you can also use these solar lights, and these are just little bitty ones that I got at the dollar store for $1. I have some more that are heavier and a little bit bigger, and this is actually glass. This one's plastic, but the ones that I paid a little bit more money for, they're glass and they're more decorative than this, but I don't really care about this. And you know, if you have kids, this is a much safer option to carry this around than to carry around some candle or a lantern or something that actually has a flame on it. And this is safer. This can be put back out in the morning and let it charge up again. You can keep it in your bathroom. You can keep it in the kids' room. And you can take, you don't have to put it on this. You can actually take it off this and put it down in the top of a jar or anything to make it where it can set and shine out in the room. Some people have actually made a little wooden base and just stuck this in it like it's a dowel, like a dowel rod. There's all kinds of things on Pinterest that you can see to use these little lights. But for $1, it's rechargeable. You don't have to worry about batteries. You don't have to worry about a flame. This is definitely something that you could give your kids and let them have a little bit of comfort when all the lights are off. You know, it's one thing when the lights are off at your house, but when the lights are off at your house and everyone else's house and the street lights are off, you know, if you live in the country, that's not so bad because we're used to things being a little bit darker. But if you're in the city and your kids have never been in pitch black, it could actually be really scary and traumatic for them. So this is a good idea. I don't know about you guys, but here the storms aren't supposed to come in until tomorrow afternoon. So we still have a little bit of time if you need to run out and get one of these. You also have the option of the of your kerosene lanterns or your lanterns that use lamp oils, and this is one of mine. I think you can see that the top of it. It's actually on a glass base here, and I've got quite a few of these. I just brought one in here to put in here on the table. I'm going to keep it in here, and I kind of like the light from it. But if you have those, then you have other options that you need to make sure that you've got. You need to make sure that you have plenty of lamp oil, and you need to have a source to be able to light it, matches or one of those long lighters. You need to make sure that you have plenty of wicks. If this, you know, if your wick is about out and your wick burns all up, it's not going to do any good to have this and have the oil if you don't have any wicks. So I keep extra wicks on hand. Extra globes. These are easy to break. This has real tight little metal clasps, but occasionally these have gotten broken, the globes, and you can get your globes and all of your extra parts and keep those on hands in emergencies when you have to use your kerosene lanterns. Also candles. I've got candles galore. I have so many candles. I don't know how long it would take me to burn all my candles. And some people are moving away from candles and they don't burn candles anymore. But I have candles. I have decorative candles. I have emergency candles. And most emergency candles, they don't have any fragrance to them. They just burn. They're usually just a little white candle, and they burn clean. You can get them at the dollar store for $1, all up to really fancy candles with wood wicks that are going to cost you quite a bit more money. Still, you're going to need your matches and lighters to get those lit. And a very important thing that you need, and I keep this under my kitchen sink, is you're going to need a fire extinguisher. Now this is a big one. Howie was a firefighter, and he always kept this under the kitchen sink for us. And so you need to make sure that you have a way that if something should catch fire, heaven forbid, you have means to be able to put that fire out. Now we were talking about that spotlight that I have that's rechargeable, and there are rechargeable flashlights. Also your communications with your phones and your laptops and your iPads and all the different things that you have. I have these. I've showed these before. This is these are chargers, and these are solar, so I can stick these out and the sun will charge them up, and then I can charge up my phone or my laptop or whatever it is that can be charged with this. This also, you can charge this with the wall outlet as well, but if the power's out, all I have to do is stick this out and let the sun do the work, and then I just simply plug in. It'll let you plug in 2 different devices and charge them up. And so I've got one of these, and the kids has got one, and I've got a few other on hand, and we just use those. We bring them out keep them charged up and bring them out in an emergency, and then we've got a way to charge our phones. If the cell towers aren't down, then we have access to to our phones and those other ways of keeping communication. It also works for your emergency radios and your little, I have that little alarm, a storm alarm, works for those. Anything that is chargeable in that means you want to be able to keep something that keeps your communication lines open in case, maybe not just in snowstorms, but any kind of emergency, weather emergency, or any other kind of emergency. Now we have the train goes by our house, and you guys have heard that train. I mean, there could be a train emergency. In fact, we have had emergencies before, not where the whole town was evacuated, but Howie got called out once with the fire department. They, down by the tracks, they had an ammonia leak. And there's been other instances that there were times that, emergency plans had to be put into place. So you just always need to be prepared in the case of an emergency. Now that covers the lighting. The next thing that we might possibly use if our power goes out is our generator. Now my dream is to have a Generac or some other type of generator that will be able to cover the whole house. We do have propane, but to be able to have a generator that would cover the entire house, that would just come on the moment the electricity went out. I haven't got one of those yet, but we do have a portable generator. And but it's not going to work if you don't have the gas for it. So Cheyenne and I, the last few days, we've made our preparations. We haven't had to worry about going in the pantries being bare or anything like that. But I will tell you that we went and got some things. We had to go out for our normal shopping anyways, and so we got things that we thought that we would enjoy if the power was out. And so we've been out and about, and yesterday I went ahead and got diesel in my in the farm truck, and Cheyenne pumped it, and then when she told me the amount, I almost fell out of the truck. It cost $91 to fill my diesel truck up with fuel. And then today we took and filled up my regular truck, holds gasoline, and we filled up the gasoline fuel tanks so that we would have fuel for the generator. And that was all fine, but I'll just tell you what happened when we got down there. Well, we live in a small town, and there's one gas station here in town, and you can go to the next town over, and they are right on the interstate, and they have a Love station, so we could have drove over there if we had to, but we wanted to do business with our local station, and so we pulled in there, and we were getting gas, and we got the gas for the truck, no problem. But we began to notice other people were trying to get gas, and one guy actually come up carrying a can, and he was parked under a different awning getting gas, and he wasn't able to get it over there, and he said, well, I think that pump's messed up, so he came over to where we were at, and then all of a sudden our pump shut off, and Cheyenne got their attention, and they reset things or worked on it and got it reset. And we started getting more gas, and this pumps about 3 times they went off, and you could see the panic on different people's faces, because there were, I don't know, 5 or 6 vehicles there that had 5 or 6 or 7 cans that they were filling, fuel cans that they were filling up, I'm sure, for their generators and for all the other stuff that they were needing. And the Love station in the next town over is usually packed with people and big trucks coming in, and so I have a feeling that they were pretty busy there as well. But they finally got the gas pumps fixed. They had to reset something, and so we were able to finish getting our gas. But I got to thinking about that, and I thought, we really could have been in a dire straits not having the fuel that we needed to run our generators. We had the generators, we had the tools that we needed, but we didn't follow all the way through and make sure that we had everything that we needed to make that thing work the right way. And so I'm thankful that we were finally able to get gas, and it also made me think about making sure that I keep fuel in stores, and we usually have gas and diesel in stores because we have, the tractor runs on diesel, and we have all these different pieces of equipment that needs different fuels. But it could have been a bad situation had there been no fuel. Different ones that were standing around the pumps were all speculating, I bet they ran out of gas. I bet they ran out of gas, because they were busy there at the gas station. And then you drove down a little ways, and the grocery store was packed. People in there getting their milk and bread and all the things that they needed. So always make sure that you keep fuel on hand, and you keep the things that is needed to ensure that your fuel stays good and clean. Make sure that if you're going to use a generator in this storm, that you know all the safety precautions. Please, please, please don't bring your generator in the house. Now, I know some people have those little generators that are battery powered, and there's no carbon monoxide involved with them. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the big ones that we all have, and that they're gas powered. Those are not meant to be brought into the house. They're not meant to be anywhere where those fumes can get in your house and cause damage, harm, physical harm to you or anyone in your family. So please follow the directions with those. We know every year we hear about people getting sick and dying from carbon monoxide poisoning because they didn't follow the rules with their generators. That brings me to the next thing. Now, we have propane here at our home, and I have a gas cook stove. So I'll be able to cook if the power goes out. I won't be able to bake in my oven because I have a newer stove, and it has whatever makes the oven turn on. That's electronic, but I can run the cooktop with matches, and so we'll be able to cook, and we'll be able to have hot water because my water heater is propane. So we'll be able to cook and wash the dishes, and take care of ourselves, sanitation and all that kind of stuff. And we also have a stove. Now, I have central heat and air that's electric, of course, but Howie put in a heat stove. I think the second year we were here, we had a big ice storm, and we had a little stove that Howie's dad had, and he let us use it, and that thing sucked the propane. It was like it was sucking it through a straw, and it just really went through the propane. And so after the storm, we regrouped, and we decided that we needed to do something differently. So we went and bought one of those propane heaters that a lot of people have, that you can mount on your wall, or ours happens to have little legs where it'll sit on the floor, and we feel fairly safe in using that. Now, Blade, that's what he does for a living, so he'll be able to check it all out and make sure that it's safe, that it's still properly maintained, clean, able to use, and we can bring it out, and we might have to move some of our furniture because that stove stays tucked away, because we don't use it unless there's an emergency like this. And so we'll have to do a little bit as far as moving some furniture, just a safer distance away from the stove. But so we have that. But some people don't have, you're all electric, and so heat becomes a really important thing that you have to think about. And we know from last year down in Texas, and even here in Oklahoma, there were people that didn't have any kind of heat. And so blankets are very, very important. You can't ever have enough blankets or quilts, in my opinion. I have quilts on the back of my chairs because I love quilts. And some of them are gifts from sweet subscribers have sent me quilts. And I have a quilt from my mama, and I have a quilt from Howie's grandma, and that are treasures to me. So I have those. Plus I have a lot of little blankets and lap quilts and different ones that we keep around just to put on us in the evening if we get chilled. Always have plenty of blankets. And a trick would be to dress in layers, just like they tell you to dress when you're going outside dressed in layers. Well, you can do that in the house too. It might seem kind of silly to wear jackets and coats and all that stuff in the house, but if you don't have any heat and it's cold, dress in those layers. If you get, start getting sweaty, well, then take off a layer. And but I promise you, if you don't have any heat and the temperatures are going to be like they're saying that they're going to be, plus we're having the north wind is going to be really up, and we're under also warnings for dangerous wind chills. So keep that in mind. Keep socks on your feet. I don't like to wear socks, but if your tootsies are cold, put some socks on. I know that we've been thinking about the baby, and if by chance we didn't have any heat, we know, thank goodness, that we will. But if we didn't, you all seen he's got his snowsuit. If nothing else, Cheyenne would put him down in his little snowsuit. I don't know that he would be very happy about it, but it would keep him warm. So just do your best to stay warm. If you've got a tent and you don't have any heat at all, they say you can bring a tent in and pitch it in your living room, and your family sleep in the tent. That's another layer of another barrier to the cold, and your children would probably have a lot of fun thinking that they were camping. With our generator, we can run our freezers and our refrigerator if need be. Now, our refrigerator, I looked it up, and they say that your refrigerator will only keep things at the temperature for about 4 to 6 hours. The important thing is you don't open the doors any more than you have to. Try with your freezers not to open the doors at all. Your freezers, if they're full, will hold their cold for 48 hours or so. And so we can, depending on how long the electricity goes out, if it does, I'm hoping it doesn't, but if it does, we've got a plan, and we don't have to run the generator or we don't have to have the freezer plugged into the generator constantly. You just need enough time to keep your food frozen, and then you extend the time a little bit longer. Plus, we're taking advantage. Blade has got 2 of those Yeti coolers, and what we'll probably do is take the food out of the refrigerator, the things that are perishable, the mayonnaise, sour cream, yogurt, milk, all that kind of stuff, the perishable stuff. We'll take that stuff out and put it in those Yeti coolers, and those will keep cool for a long time. And so we won't have to worry about getting sick to our tummies on top of everything else. So just be smart about keeping your family safe. Don't try to keep any kind of raw meats or anything in your fridge if your power is going to be out for a while, because it's not going to keep. If you think that the power is going to go out, or just for a precaution, you want to go ahead and cook that meat up and put it in containers and put it in your coolers or put it in the freezer. I would do that. That way you're not wasting the food. You're not throwing it away. I know that Cheyenne and I are going to be baking and getting some things made up ahead of time, because we can't use our oven. And so we're going to bake some things and have them on hand, that we would still be able to reheat them on the stovetop and do some things creatively. But we just wouldn't be able to bake. And so that's probably going to be some projects for in the morning. The storms are supposed to be rolling in for tomorrow afternoon. And so we've got some busy times ahead of us, and I know that you guys do too. I hope that you guys will be safe. They're calling for ice here, and snow, you can kind of trudge through the snow and be real careful. The ice kind of scares me a little bit. Those of you that know me very well know that I am a klutz, and I'm not looking forward to the ice. Make sure that you put something out on your steps and your porches and your sidewalks, so that you don't have any kind of slippery situations that would cause you to fall and to get hurt. Other than that, guys, I'm going to get off of here for tonight. We're in the midst of preparations, and I know you guys are too. You're busy, and you don't have a whole lot of time to sit down and listen to all the ranting that I've got. But we'll get back to our good old conversation hopefully next week. We'll have videos this week. If the power's not out, we'll have videos about different things. I'm going to make one of those flock blocks for my chickens. They'll appreciate that. That suet cake that I made them, I went out, you know, I showed you that video, and I went out the next day and they ate it totally up. Now, I had a subscriber that asked about the citrus, if my chickens ate it. My chickens don't seem to mind eating citrus. They've had pineapple, and they've had oranges and all kinds of stuff, and they eat it right up. And so they left me an empty pan. I didn't see a thank you note, but they left me an empty pan, and I'm gonna end up making them a flock block, and it'll be a hard thing, like a cake that I bake in the oven. And so I'll bake that in the morning just in case the electric goes out. My poor little chickens won't have to do without their flock block. But I'm going to get off here for now. I love you guys. I really do. If you don't see me for a few days, it'll be because there's either I don't have any power or you guys don't. Anyway, I love you. I really do. And until next time, we're gone.